Hello, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and when I'm looking for a podcast about everything, I listen to the Say Report. If they're lying to you, I'll be back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, Sejan Sarowick. How are you this morning, Sejan?
I'm doing good. What are we doing? Why are we taking it nice and slow? What are we doing?
I don't know. It's weird. Like, we recorded yesterday, and I had been up for half an hour. I've been up for 4 hours, like, conservatively, and my energy's a little low. So it's a good thing that even though I didn't need that energy drink yesterday, because I have it for today. So I'm drinking a Rockstar Energy Punch, not a sponsor, and I'm ready to talk about the Say Report stuff, because this is an excused absence episode. Sejan, do you want to tell the people why we're recording next Monday's episode this Sunday, November 16th?
Yeah, you know, we're getting into the holiday spirit, doing a few things, possibly, maybe even being in the same place at the same time. So that would be wild.
Yeah. By all accounts, we're supposed to see each other next Sunday. And if we recorded on that day, that would suck. I mean, it wouldn't suck. I would love to record with Sejan in person again. It's always a blast. However, it's real difficult to record with him and then do things with him, because I want to do like all my editing stuff so that I can release it the next day. So to make sure that everything's going to be all, fruity is what I've been saying, which is fruity and groovy, baby. It's fruity, baby. Let's make sure everything's fruity. We are recording this episode so that we have something to release on the 24th of November.
Yeah,
because it's good. It's good to be prepared. One of us is an Eagle Scout, and one is the son of an Eagle Scout. So we understand being prepared. Do you think Scar was a Boy Scout?
Like the Lion
yes,
Scar?
Like the
I guess
Lion
I don't know
Scar.
any other Scar. But
he sings a whole song about being prepared, though.
Sure. No, I think he would have made a good Boy Scout, but he was not a boy, so it doesn't work.
Fuck you. That is what I'm saying. I don't know. We've already kind of teased what we're going to talk about last episode, and we're going to get to it. But first of all, I am taking the time to issue an apology to my mother, Dorothy Decker, and sister Dale Decker, because they were none too pleased about me slagging them off about the time zone stuff. I came up from the studio yesterday, and it was very, like, tapping their foot, holding rolling pins, like, really? That's what you're gonna do? You're gonna make us look like assholes? And I listened to it with them to it this morning. I gotta be honest, it's pretty innocuous, right? I don't think I didn't call them any disparaging names. Mostly I made fun of Sejan. So I guess apology to Sejan as well. But if Sejan doesn't get that there's just a blanket apology for everything I say during this show, then the last 462 episodes have been for naught.
I think our entire friendship is based on a blanket apology.
Yeah, and that does go both ways. Like, you need somebody in your life who's going to give it to you straight, and so straight that if they were anybody else, friendship would be over.
I mean, I think that is kind of what defines a best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I think actually might even be.
Yeah, right? It's like, they're the person who can tell you that your dick is hanging out, and you're not like, what the hell? Why are you looking at my dick? You can be like, thanks for the look. Zip.
It's 1995, and we have a ton of gay panic. What are you doing?
You know what? So I saw Springsteen Deliver Us from Nowhere, and they are very affectionate with one another in that movie. I don't know if I could recommend that movie to anybody. We're talking a lot about movies this episode. And so I guess I'm kicking it off with Springsteen Deliver Me from Nowhere. And the fact that that movie, I wanted to see it because it was about the writing of the album Nebraska, which is like very personal, and it has the song Atlantic City on it, which I'm a big fan of that song.
All right.
I like that. So I'm like, I'm going to go see this. I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, I got to see this movie because The Bear is in it. And I'm like, I still haven't seen any episodes of The Bear. I'm sorry to everybody. And Jeremy Strong's there. I know Jeremy Strong's name. I don't know Jeremy Allen White's name. I just got to be honest with everybody. I'm unfamiliar with Jeremy Allen White's name. If I knew it, I would have said it. And Jeremy Strong as Springsteen's manager. Like, that's it. Paul Walter Hauser ended up showing up in it. He was wonderful. Also, my fast friend. That's an inside joke for the family. But, oh my God, I can't remember his name. Frickin' Bernard from the Santa Claus movies.
Oh, yeah, man. And,
what is his freaking name?
Shows up in Firefly and shows up in... he's the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of White...
White Castle, yeah. Him and Finch. Why can't I remember any of these guys' names? David Krumholtz is the one that I'm thinking of. David Krumholtz showed up, had a really good role. Like, but overall, the cast was incredible. But the problem that I have with it is that it's a biopic and it's really supposed to be. So there's this long-running joke in my life, and if you've ever been on the other side of this, understand that I'm sorry, but it was still the funniest thing that has ever happened to me. I was working in the scene shop. I think it was my sophomore year in college. And the guy I was working with, JS, I don't want to say his name, but I do. JS, you should know who that is. He has a brother with the same initials, but we're talking about the older one right now. We're working in the shop. We're cutting wood. And you have the radio on, right? Like, you worked in the scene shop, right? You did some hours in there, so you're familiar with that, right?
I love that that's your definition of working in the scene shop, is just hanging out and cutting wood.
Well, we were cutting wood, and then we were going to build something. But the part that we were doing at the scene shop, where we were cutting the wood to length so that we could go build it on the set. But they have that radio that's on. And it was always tuned to, like, 101.9, cool 102. Which I love that they're like, we're cool 102, even though it's 101.9. Roundup. It's not going to be difficult for you to find us in the age before digital tuners. You'll get there. Sorry. And a James Taylor song came on the radio as we're cutting through boards and everything. And JS looks at me with dead sincerity. That kind of dead sincerity that only that family was able to deliver. I don't know if I've ever met another family like who could like stop everything to give you all of themselves to tell you something like sincere. And he looks at me as this James Taylor song is playing and he goes, "Did you know that James Taylor was depressed?" And I'm frozen. Like, what is happening? Like, and then I'm like, I compose myself. Like, this is all quick too. Like, it's not like I was silent for like an hour or even like 20 seconds. Like, it's like I worked through it in about 5 seconds, and I look back at him and I go, "Yeah, I've heard one of his songs." Like, but now, ever since that moment, whenever I hear a James Taylor song, I say, without the sincerity, "Did you guys know that James Taylor was depressed?" So that's the thing that I've been doing. And what Deliver Me From Nowhere is about, what this biopic is about.
Distinctly not a James Taylor movie.
Not a James Taylor movie. But is that Bruce Springsteen was depressed. Like, the whole movie is about how, like, he dealt with clinical depression. So there's a moment where, like, it becomes very obvious that that is what's happening. Like, it might just be, like, you know, the cool down from not being on the road, or the stress of trying to write a new album. And the fact that, like, that whole the whole point is that he's almost like, I want to write a dual album. I want to do a double album. And what that eventually becomes is 1982's Nebraska, which is a solo album. It's just stuff that he recorded in his bedroom at a rental home in Colt Neck, New Jersey. And then in 84 comes out Born in the USA. And if you just want some, like, whiplash, I would suggest doing a track meet between those two albums. Do you know what a track meet is? Or is that like...
Like a 1-to-1?
So when I do track meets, I listen to the first song off of the first album, then the first song off of the second album, and then I just go through them that way. Which is like that. Like, it's not listening at the same time. It is usually the older album to the newer album, listening to track one. I mean, in a world where we have Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Amazon Music, it's really funny that, like, they did not try with the music services. Yeah, no, it's just our company's music service. You get it. You understand. It's pretty simple to now make track meet, like, playlists. They're really fun for, like, long car rides. I mean, I'm a big fan of listening to albums all the way through, but when that starts to feel like a little boring, I'll do track meets between things. For the drive to Pittsburgh, when I was doing a gig in Pittsburgh every year, I would do track meets of the Bare Naked Ladies at, like, entire discography. And that is something to, like, see how they grew and, like, in the construction of an album and things like that. So, like, do a track meet between Nebraska and Born in the USA. You would not believe that they were literally both written at the same time. Like,
by the same artist, yeah.
By the same artist. Like, it is whiplash and not the Miles Teller film. And it doesn't drag, I'll tell you that. But the other thing about this movie is that it does what biopics do. So it, like, combines and condenses characters. It, like, the weirdest thing, spoilers from Springsteen Delivered Me From Nowhere, a film that I saw with my mother and she still does not know the title of, which I think is really funny. I saw that Bruce Springsteen movie. I don't know the title of it, is how she starts every conversation about it. But it shows a lot of Springsteen as a child in this movie, like, and his poor relationship with his father, and then, like, how it weirdly got healed after he got a lot of his anger out on that Nebraska album. And, like, it makes it look like he's not a single child, an only child, I think is what you say there. I get nervous using the term only now in 2025, though.
A single nuclear unit within the family, yeah.
But, like, it's not that it makes it look like he's their only child. It makes it look like his sibling died. Because there's a scene where his father comes home drunk from the bar, goes into his room where young Bruce Springsteen is reading a comic book, and he makes him fight him. He's like, put your hands up, I'm going to teach you how to fight. And in the background, there's another bed, and that bed is empty. Like, why are there two beds in Bruce Springsteen's childhood bedroom? And then there's a scene where, like, they go to this mansion on the hill, which was the inspiration of the song about the mansion on the hill off of Nebraska, and the father lets them out in, like, the cornfield, or the corn or wheat fields in front of it to frolic, and it's young Bruce Springsteen and a young girl, and, like, we're never told who that young girl is. But then later, he's, like, sitting on the stairs while his parents are dancing to, like, the radio. And above the radio is a photo of that young girl that feels more like a memorial shot.
In memoriam,
like,
yeah.
Like, and, like, very famously, Bruce Springsteen has two sisters who, as of this recording, I believe are both still alive. but it's like, why are you making it seem like either he was an only child, so he had to go through this, like, abuse from his father alone, or even weirder, why are you making it seem like he lost who could have been his only compatriot dealing with this terrible childhood? And I guess, in a way, right, to step into the mind of the director, I have no idea if I think it's Scott Cooper who directed it. Would you mind confirming that for me? While I tell this, to step into the mind of the director, I think the idea is that we're seeing his memories, so we're only seeing the things that, like, mattered in those moments. So, like, it didn't matter that his sister was maybe asleep in the bedroom that they shared when his father came up and, like, made him, like, jab and punch and learn how to fight at, like, 1 a.m. It didn't matter, like, that stuff. Like, I think it's supposed to represent the fact that, like, we're seeing how Bruce remembers these moments, but it layers on a whole other meaning to this, like, the weird flashback stuff that happens in the movie.
You were right.
It is
He wrote and directed it.
Yeah. And that's what he does, very similar, like, films to this. So I can see that. I can see, coming from a place of, like, I see a lot of biopics, that idea of, well, we're seeing how Bruce remembers it. So, like, the
he
little
also does a lot
details
of musically based ones as well, because, like, Crazy Heart was one of his, which is a kind of biopic, a fictional biopic with some very decent music in it.
Yeah. So that, and then the other thing is, he only has one girlfriend in the movie, and she is apparently just all of the women that he was seeing during this time slammed into one character.
Okay.
Which is, that's strange. Especially because they have, like, when they meet, like, the other thing is, like, he's just going to the Stone Pony. He has just finished the River Tour. The man has 5 albums out, right? Everybody that I've spoken to about this movie, they're like, oh yeah, like, when Nebraska came out, like, he was kind of done. Like, we all thought of him as a 70s artist. And then here come the 80s, and, like, Bruce Springsteen's time is over. Like, he does that real meaningful solo album, and then he comes back with Born in the USA. So, like, it's weird that he's acting like, oh, I don't know how to deal with fame. And it's like, you've kind of been famous for 10 years, though. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, but and so he just plays at the Stone Pony. He goes to the Stone Pony, which is that club in Asbury Park, New Jersey, where he got started. And, like, there's no security or anything, which is just crazy. And that's just indicative. I think that's more indicative of just where the world was at when it came to celebrity, 40, 50 years ago. That, like, he wouldn't need bodyguards. He could just go up there and be fine. And everybody just treats him like a normal person. Everybody just treats him like a guy. Like, someone's like, yeah, you suck, Springsteen. And that's funny. Like, that's funny. But when he meets this woman, like, he's like, I'm seeing somebody. But we haven't seen him seeing anybody. Like, he just tells us that. And then he proceeds to get into what would be considered a committed relationship with one woman who has a child, and is like, this also really, like, tells a different kind of story than, like, the fact that he was spending time with women until, like, the overwhelming weight of his creativity caused him to ghost them, and then he would go out and find another one that he did that with. Like, it's a huge symptom of his depression that he's not able to maintain a relationship, and they just like, no, but he's in a relationship with this woman for, like, a good amount of time before he ghosts her. Just weird choices.
There always are, man. I mean, like, this is the Rami Malek
Bohemian Rhapsody
biodoc, right? Bohemian Rhapsody, where, like, the entire time they're, like, mad at him for having a solo career, but if you actually look at the timeline,
Brian May had, like, 2.
2 of the other members have
Brian May
albums.
did 2 solo albums before the time that Freddie Mercury was like, I'd like to do a solo album. And I think the drummer had also had a solo project, too. You're right. 2 other members of Queen had done it. But they make it like, you're betraying the band, Freddie Mercury. How dare you? How dare you want to do a solo album? We get to do solo albums because I'm Brian May and the drummer from Queen. But not you, Freddie Mercury. How fucking dare you? Also, by all accounts, in real life, they, like, supported it. because they're like, yeah, Freddie wants to do some stuff that is distinctly not Queen. So let's let him get that out of his system so we can get back to doing what people know as the band Queen. Which was exactly why Brian went off and did his 2 solo things. Because he's like, I don't want to do the Queen stuff. I want to do this type of music. I mean, it's real just, it is. That one is one that baffled my mind. Like, when they got so mad at him about the solo album, like, Brian May had 2 solo albums at this point, right? And everyone in the theater shushed me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring prior knowledge into this biopic. I'm the asshole.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know about the Bruce Springsteen of it all, man. Like I had somebody actually ask me a couple of weeks ago, like, "Hey, I really like Bruce Springsteen. Would really like to go see this movie, and I know you're a movie person. Like, would you be willing to go to the movies with me to go see it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know actually anything about Bruce Springsteen." Like in the moment, I finally like reflected back and realized I was like, I'm happy to go see a movie, but I don't know fuck all. And then like never heard from that person again about going to see the movie. Like have distinctly seen them in other contexts in the last 2 weeks, and it has not come up.
The funniest part about that is they're like, yeah, you want to do it? And your response is like, yeah, I'll go see that movie. I don't know anything about Bruce Springsteen. And their offense at the fact that, how do you know nothing about the boss? What is wrong with you, Sergeant Sarowick? I will not bring you to see this film. You would be spitting on a great man. Like, I don't know, it is, yeah. But it's weird, right? Because like he is so ubiquitous to culture, but in the 90s, like it was not something that we were really exposed to. Like he
no, I mean, like, you talk about him being almost kind of done at the end of the 70s and reinventing himself for the 80s. I don't know if that ever happened in the 90s, but I have to also say that by that point he probably didn't really need to do too much because he had a very built-in audience. Right. Like the one thing that I really know about Bruce Springsteen, one of the few things that I really know about Bruce Springsteen is that there are die-hard Bruce Springsteen fans. There are people out there where, I mean, as far as I could tell, don't listen to music otherwise, but what they do listen to is Bruce Springsteen, right? And maybe that's because of the area of the country that we grew up in, right? Up in New England and stuff, and him being a Jersey boy. But this being this whole cult of Bruce Springsteen, beyond that, I didn't know much, right? I mean, yeah, I knew Born in the USA because I think that like a civics teacher made us listen to it once and talk about how it's not saying what you think it is, which is all I think of now every time fucking Trump tries to use it.
The best part about that is that it's also a movie soundtrack song. Like he was given the script for Born in the USA. They want to put you up against De Niro, and he's like, I didn't read the script, but I wrote this song based purely on the title.
Yeah. No.
Like, oh, cool. Don't tell them that, please.
Yeah, so like I have nothing against the man, but like he is a person that he is an artist that I understand to be extremely influential in a bubble outside of my own, right? And I think we've talked about this before, how it's kind of always interesting to like, you know, it is interesting to peek into these bubbles that are not your bubbles, you know, and like just because I don't know anything about him, like I am legitimately interested in seeing a movie, you know, because what better way than give me, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours to like peek into this thing that I have no knowledge about and, you know, give me a dangerous amount of knowledge so that I can keep up with my friends in the future. Like that's the hope, the dream with these kinds of projects. Now, that's what makes it all the more insidious when they get shit just straight up wrong, right? Is that then people start to think for the rest of their lives that, oh, this is the way things are. Yeah. But you know, no, what they don't realize is it was just a creative convenience on the part of the film, right?
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to cast a bunch of women. We'll just cast the one and have their relationship go through all the things that he went with the women we was dating. And I understand that. But the thing is, my mother, like halfway through the film, she's like, I thought this film was going to answer questions. I have so many more. Yes, because I'm sitting here thinking the same thing. Like, he didn't lose a sibling, right? Like, he has 2 sisters. Like, that's a thing about him that I know, and that they're very close. And it's one of those things I like that makes him approachable. I mean, it's also one of the reasons why that, like, peeking into the bubble that you talked about, like, Blinded by the Light is such a film that I enjoy. Because I know the things that I have had great passion for in my life, and it's really fun watching a film about someone discovering one of those. And that could have been anything. The fact that it's Bruce Springsteen just means that it has pretty kickin' fucking music in it. But yeah, like I remember in the 90s, someone's like, yeah, you're probably like Bruce Springsteen. And I'm like, why? Why would I like Bruce Springsteen? And the response is, because it's white people music. And I'm like, cool. Thank you for that. I've never really considered either of us to be I've never considered you to be non-white, and I've never really considered myself to just be straight white. So this was a moment in our friendship. It's good times. So yeah, like I did see that. I don't know how we got on this. I'm a little lost.
No, I mean,
talking about movies, talking about film.
Jeremy Allen White. I don't understand why they keep calling that man a bear. He looks very Twinkie to me, but
I'm gonna let that one lie. That was funny enough for me to let it lie. Right now, I also come into this episode. I'm a little mad at Dave Franco. I gotta say it. Because I've been calling it Now You See 3, and I saw an interview where he called it Now You 3 Me, and fuck, that's better than mine.
I like that even he, though, is like, we fucked these names up. We fucked these names so much.
So I have seen Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I fucking cheered in the theater when the title card came up. Because, dear God, that's what the second one should have been called.
But I am going to stand by the idea, though, that Now You See Me and Now You See Me 2 are actually technically just one story. Because there are things that happen in Now You See Me 2 that go back to actually give context to things in Now You See Me in a way where, like, I think we've talked about before, like to me it's kind of like looking at Pirates of the Caribbean,
Dead Man's Chest and At World's End.
And At World's End, right? Where you're just like, well, this is only half a movie, and then like the other half comes out, and you're like, now that was an experience of cinema, right? Is like that's kind of the way you have to do Now You See Me and Now You See Me 2, because if you just watch Now You See Me, you walk away from that movie thinking about it as having, first of all, one of the most unearned twists in the history of cinema. Like it does nothing to earn the twist at the end of that movie. And then on top of that, there are moments where characters are aware of things and know things where you're just like, I don't understand how this person is even like getting to this conclusion. And then when you see Now You See Me 2 and then understand the full story of what actually has been going on the whole time, you're just like, okay, now the pieces are all coming together.
Now I get it. I'm the idiot.
Problem with that is that this is not like it's not like a famous franchise of books where like you're just like, oh, they're making movies of these, and so yes, this one's not gonna have all the answers because I know there's 6 more stories in this story, right? To give me those answers. As far as you knew at the time that Now As You See Me came out, it was a full package film. That was the whole world that you were gonna, that was the whole time you were gonna spend in that world. And so the fact that there was just so much bullshit was just like, this movie's off its fucking rocker. And then the sequel came out and you're just like, okay.
Well, and the funny thing is that is it's total retconning. Like Louis Leterrier like directs that first film, and then they hear all of the problems that people have with it, all of the things that you just registered that are completely legitimate issues to have with Now You See Me.
I mean, like one of the biggest ones, right? This is one that I don't think I've ever really mentioned before, but I do think this is an obvious one when you watch the first movie, is that there is no context for where Morgan Freeman fits into anything.
Yes.
At first, it sounds like he's maybe just like going to be like an audience XP that's going to kind of introduce you to what's going on in the story. On the other hand, it seems like he may be a little antagonistic to these characters. On the other hand, it seems like he's being really antagonistic to Michael Caine, who is so like you can't really tell. So you have no fucking clue how he fits into this story. And then the unearned twist at the end of that film, where he somehow ends up being supposedly the biggest antagonist, because he's like the one that you see go to jail at the end. But then you watch the second movie and it turns out that he was one of the good guys the whole time.
Yep. And that's fine, but like I think that like the nice thing about Now You See Me as a franchise is the fact that they listen to like the problems people have with it and then they address them. Like, here's the thing. I'm not going to say anything more about Now You 3 Me. I'm stealing it, Franco. You're cool. You're a nerve. I love you, Dave Franco. I honestly do. I just was mad that, like, Now You 3 Me was better. I
thought you were mad about the fact that the dude has, like, 3 movies out right now.
No, I love that. Well, he has 2 movies out right now, but he had 3 released this year. And we're going to talk about
Together is still playing around here.
That is incredible that Together is still playing. It is not playing. It was in theaters the 2 weeks that films tend to get these days, and it disappeared, which actually bums me out. I'm not going to lie to you. It's something that upsets me. And we're going to talk about Regretting You once we finally talk about the trilogy of 2025 after all this place setting is done. I'm not going to talk about Now You Three Me. I've seen it. I loved it. I loved it is what I'm going to say. Is that I absolutely loved the film. If you have any interest in it, just go fucking see it. Don't read any reviews. Don't look at any other marketing material. Even though I think that Now You Three Me is a masterclass in how we should be marketing movies, I also know what happens after opening weekend. Mm-hmm. With the marketing strategies, where it's okay, everybody who wanted to see it saw it. Now we have to give those people who are on the fence a real reason to go back and check out this film. And
I look forward to seeing all of the twists get ruined for me in YouTube Shorts over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, go see the movie, Sejan. Go see the movie. I'll pay for your ticket if you need me to. I'm serious. Is a good one. Based upon the way that you just talked. You had such light and life in your voice, Sejan, as you discussed Now You See Me and Now You See Me Too.
Those movies are fucking wild, man.
I
have never rubber banded so hard on a franchise as I did when I saw that second one and thought, I actually like these films.
Yeah, no, the one review that I have been quoting for Now You Three Me is the best of the trilogy, which just seems like the dumbest fucking thing to me, because the reason it's the best of the trilogy is because of all the groundwork from the first two films. It's not one of you hear best of the trilogy. For some people, they're like, oh, I'm not going to watch the first two then. And if you just walked into Now You See Me, Now You Don't, you'd be like, what the fuck is happening? You'll have missed the setup and the misdirect. You'll only be seeing the prestige. And it's not going to be enjoyable. But it's really good, and that's what I saw that, and now we get to. Is there anything else you want to make sure that we talk about, Sejan, before we turn this episode into one where we explore what I've been calling the trilogy of 2025?
No, I am excited as you talk about how movies are back, Devon, and there is a Barbenheimer-esque.
True say. This weekend with Now You Three Me and Running Man legitimately feels like the closest thing to Barbenheimer. I know that, like I said, Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, and One Battle After Another, kind of touched it as well. But the fact that the laser projection theater, is splitting its time between Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and Running Man, feels like that Barbenheimer energy, where they know that this is hitting two very distinct groups of individuals. Yeah, and honestly, I don't think that there's a lot of crossover between the two of them. I my mother did not go see The Running Man with us, but she's like, yeah, I'm going to see Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I enjoy those films. Yeah. It's very much marketed to other people. I am happy to report that, we'll save that for later once we get to it. Because to start off the trilogy of 2025, and I'm going to keep the reason why it's the trilogy of 2025 till the end. It'll be our undeserved twist of this episode. But what I'm calling it is Roof Man, starring Channing Tatum and Kristen Dunst, Regretting You, starring McKenna Grace, Mason Thames, backed up by Allison Williams and Dave Franco. Which Mason Thames, I had an article yesterday called that he's the most popular person in Hollywood right now because of the fact that he is in Regretting You and he's in Black Phone 2 right now because he's the guy from Black Phone. And I get it. After seeing him in Regretting You, I want to see all of his films because his performance was incredible. But we'll start with Roof Man, which was the first one. And I'm calling it a trilogy. All of these films, right, unlike Together, which Sijin brought up earlier, these three films are still showing at the theater near us. I could go and have a triple feature where I watch Roofman, watch Regretting You, and then go see The Running Man. That's a weird trilogy. My mom's like, is it because they're all R-named movies? Is that why it's a trilogy? And no, it's not that. So Roofman, I've touched on it a little bit, but it's Channing Tatum playing the McDonald's robber who would break into McDonald's via the roof and like just take all the money from their safes before, and then he goes to prison, he breaks out, he lives in a Toys R Us, and he like integrates himself into a community. Like, I think my favorite thing, this one's also based on a true story, which is why we spend so much time with Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, because this does the thing I like in true stories, where clearly the movie is made for entertainment, but then over the credits, because this all happened in 2004, right? Everything with, I should have Roofman up. I am unprepared to talk about Roofman as much as it was a very, very enjoyable film. Everything that Jeffrey Manchester did happened in 2004, and they have like tapes and video and interviews with the police and the people of the community that he was interacting with. And that is what the credits are, is real world footage of what happened and people's reactions. So like you get to watch this movie that is clearly a narrative, right? There are some fictional elements in it. There are things like that. And then you get to see the real story. And my favorite part is that like, and this was funny because like living inside the Toys R Us, he gets involved in, you know, the retail politics, as it were. Between between the manager, who's played by Peter Dinklage, and like Kirsten Dunst's character, who she's big in her church community, and she's like, you know, we're doing a toy drive. Do you think that Toys R Us as a corporation would want to donate some toys? Like we have a bunch of returns that we're not allowed to sell. Could we give those to the children? And he's like, no, we're in the business of selling toys, not giving them away, you fucking idiot. He also bullies, like, another male employee, like, just like, oh, you're eating all the M&Ms, right? Because Jeffrey Manchester's eating all the peanut M&Ms in the store. And then there's, like, kind of a husky guy who works there, and he's like, missing a lot of peanut M&Ms. Hey, Charlie. You like peanut M&Ms, right? Peter Dinklage being a total fuck in this movie.
Another one who's had a big year.
Yeah, he's had a really big
number of films out.
Yeah. So like he ends up taking the toys that are like by all defense return items, right? And they're not technically allowed to be sold because they're not in packages anymore. Someone could have bought the toys and then done something to them, and then a kid's got like, oh, razor blades and my bunny. So he takes those to that community to donate them, and then he winds up as part of that religious community. That's how he starts dating Kirsten Dunst's character. But then, like, I told somebody, like, yeah, like, one of the things he did while he was on the lam, like, admittedly, he was an escaped prisoner for all of the robberies he had committed, but he takes these toys and he donates them to a toy drive for, like, underprivileged children. And I was saying that to a friend, it was actually Reagan that I was saying it to, and she's like, yeah, but they're still stolen, right? Like, it's a criminal doing something criminal. Is that something that you're going to cheer about? And I'm like, all right, that's a fair point. And legitimately, the police sergeant who was assigned to the case to, like, try to find him, they have an interview with her. She's like, everybody always talks about, oh, but he donated the toys. He's not all bad. He donated the toys to the children. Those toys were stolen property. Like, everybody's all, I'm just like, I really like that, like, this woman, who was technically the antagonist to this guy's whole story, is saying, like, what some people are thinking about the situation.
Well, right, but I mean, like, you know, like, that's true of every Robin Hood story, including fucking Robin Hood.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yes, technically what he's doing is breaking the law, but it is because the law is an unreasonable one, right? That we cheer him on because he's fighting a repressive system, right?
Exactly. He's, and yes, he did do it, but also like, then that's the thing I really like, because when he breaks into the first McDonald's, we see him break into a McDonald's. The man, like, what he would do to the people, he would lock them in the freezer, but he would make sure that, like, I'm calling the police right now. Just keep your coats on so that you'll stay warm in the freezer. The police will be here in about 10 to 15 minutes. They're going to let you out. You're going to be okay. And then the manager, played by the guy who plays Flash Thompson in the new Spider-Man movies, the Home Trilogy, with Tom. I can't think of Tom's last name. I almost said Tom Hardy. Tom Holland. I would like to see Tom Hardy as Spider-Man and Tom Holland as Venom. That would work for me. I want to go to that dimension. Quinn, get me the slide device. He doesn't have a jacket, so Jeffrey Manchester like takes off his coat and gives it to him because he doesn't want him to freeze to death. And it's like, wow, like this guy, like, he is stealing from corporations. Like, that's the other thing. He's not hitting mom and pop things. He's hitting, like, again, it is still theft. It is still not, it's still illegal, right? You're still breaking the law. But, it's like when I worked in retail, and they're like, if somebody robs the store, just give them the money. Your life is not worth more than the money here. We're insured. We're going to get anything that's stolen back. Mm-hmm. Like I said, like he found that out about how these places are insured. So he's like, yeah, I'll just steal from McDonald's. There's a bunch of them. They're all insured. And he was taking out like $60,000 from every heist. Like solid fucking money for like a night's work. So yeah, I mean, like, it's real, like, it's well acted. I mean, Channing Tatum is great, but it's nice to see him in, like, not a Magic Mike role. Not that I have any problem with Magic Mike, but, there's a little more meat to him playing Jeffrey Manchester in, like, the conflict that he's going through. Lovely to see Kirsten Dunst again. Again, Peter Dinklage down here. The MVP of this movie, though, is Ben Mendelsohn. Because it was real nice seeing Ben Mendelsohn not play an alien. And I think I may have said that before on this show, but I want to make sure I drive that home, because he is the reverend of the church that Jeffrey gets involved with, and he is just, I mean, like, clearly Ben Mendelsohn is an amazing actor. Like, you just have to watch even though I don't like Rogue One, I love his performance in it. What he did as the Skrull, I can't think of his actual name, but in Captain Marvel, and then even further in Secret Invasion, like, he was bringing it and he was leaving it all there. He's one heck of an actor. And then to see him, like, playing this, like, oh, those are some interesting shoes. Oh, you're from New York. Oh, you're like, work for the CIA. Like, he plays the role, like, with real genuine warmth and compassion. And, like, again, like, clearly as the Skrull, I gotta look up the Skrull's name. I feel like an asshole that I just keep calling him, the Skrull.
Yeah, but he's the rebel leader of them, right? Like he is a pretty important political force, and obviously that gets kind of thrown into a monkey wrench gets thrown into it with Secret Wars and everything going on there. But
Secret Invasion. Make sure that
Secret Invasion. Sorry.
Talos. Talos is who he's playing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a fantastic, complex character in what could otherwise be a pretty straightforward Lost role. There's a lot of risk of him going the way of like Christopher Eccleston in Thor: The Dark World, just being kind of one note and not utilizing his talent. But he's great.
He's played really well in the whole Marvel universe, and like even as the bad guy in something like Ready Player One, another movie that I did not care about, but that he just did such a good job in it that I will talk all about it. And everybody's losing their mind over Andor, where he plays Orson Krennic again. And I have not watched that because of how little I liked Rogue One. But, there's going to come a time where I'm finally caught up on all the TV shows. I might check out Andor, right? I don't know if that'll happen, but I'm saying it. But yeah, so Roofman was really, really good. Like you said, like talking about the corruption of the world and all this other stuff. Again, it does do the biopic thing because like he was in that Toys R Us until he kind of, until he robbed it, because he does end up robbing it on Black Friday because he knows that they'll have just so much fucking money in the safe. And again, he tries not to hurt, but he ends up hurting somebody because that kid who's bullied by Dinklage the whole movie, like, decides to try to be a hero. And so he just hits him with the butt of his unloaded gun. And it's just like, fuck. He's like, now you choose to, like, finally be a man and stand up to somebody. And he hurt him, right? So he did leave his little shelter that he had in the Toys R Us, and he moved into an abandoned Circuit City across the street. Which is just, this is just the facts of that, the actual, like, Roofman saga. Really good movie, though. I have only scratched the surface with everything that's going on, but that was the first movie. And I saw the trailer for Roofman before, I think, One Battle After Another. I'm fairly certain it was before I saw One Battle After Another that I saw the trailer for Roofman, and it was coming out like that Friday, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go see that next week. I'm not going to not see that movie. And that was before I even knew that I was embarking upon a journey with the trilogy of 2025. Now, the second film in this trilogy is Regretting You, which we already talked about, Dave Franco. That's one of the reasons why I had to share that I'm angry at Dave Franco because of Now You Three Me. You son of a bitch. It's so good. I hope he came up with it too. I hope it's not some, like, marketing asshole who's like, call it this. And the delivery, when I heard him, it does kind of feel like exactly what you said, Seachin, that it is the cast taking the piss about the fact that you guys fucked up with the names. You get that, right? Yeah. It's like Bad Boys for Life being the third Bad Boys movie. It has 4 right there. So Regretting You is, I saw the trailer for Regretting You. I've been seeing this, I feel like I've been seeing this trailer all year. Like, it started with, like, the blockbusters. When I saw Jurassic World Rebirth, I'm fairly certain, is when I saw the first Regretting You trailer.
Well, this is one of the ones that got, like, fast-tracked after It Ends With Us, right?
Yes. Yeah, because it's the same writer. It's another one of her books. And It Ends With Us, which they hoped was going to be a huge franchise and that they were going to be able to, like, adapt other books in that series. That didn't happen when Blake Lively and the director are still embroiled in a very public feud about everything that happened on the set of that film. Mm-hmm. So... Yeah. They were very much like, this writer, she's hot right now, let's adapt another one of her books, and they do Regretting You. And when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, I have so many theories as to what is happening in this. Here are some spoilers for Regretting You. So, it is about 2 couples who are, like, there are sisters, and then one's dating Dave Franco, the other one's dating Clint Eastwood's son. Scott Eastwood? Yeah, it is Scott. Mm-hmm. I feel like everybody's just named Scott this episode. But yeah, so Scott Eastwood is dating Allison Williams, and while they're like 18 years old, she gets pregnant with McKenna Grace. So they end up getting married. Dave Franco and I don't know who plays Allison Williams' younger sister, they're dating. Willa. And was it?
Willa.
Oh, yeah. Frick, I cannot think of... Yeah, it is Willa. You're right. But I don't know
Fitzgerald.
Is it Willa Fitzgerald? What a name. I love it. I am going to bring up the Regretting You just so I have everything. I'm happy I remembered Allison Williams' name. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, Willa Fitzgerald. You're correct on that. They're dating at the time, but then when it comes time to go to school, Dave Franco disappears. Like, he goes to college and he never returns to this town. And now he is back to the town, and he hooked up with his high school girlfriend. That resulted in a pregnancy. So now they're raising a child together and kind of dating. Also, okay. Dave Franco and Scott Eastwood are best friends, right? Like, that's their relationship as well. So, you know, life's going on. McKenna Grace, she's driving. She picks up the coolest guy in school, who is played by Mason Thames, when she's supposed to be home for her mother's birthday. So she goes and she hangs out with this kid, and she gets home a little bit late for her mother's birthday. And we get to meet this nice little family unit, and we see a little bit of the flashback to when they were kids in 2007. Which I almost turned to dust, Siege, and I have to be honest. Watching these high school seniors in 2007, and freaking The Killers, When You Were Young is playing, and I'm just like, I hate this. I absolutely hate all of this. Please stop it, the movie. So then in modern times, they have that birthday, and then the Willa Fitzgerald's character is going to go back to work after her maternity leave has ended. And she works at the same hospital where Scott Eastwood works as a surgeon. And, they're texting, like the daughter, the McKenna Grace is texting her aunt about the fact that she likes this guy, but he currently has a girlfriend. And she's like, you don't want to be the other woman. And then she's like, well, what would you know about that? And then no response. And then we cut to Allison Williams getting a call saying that her husband has been in an accident. So she rushes to the hospital to get more information. And Dave Franco is there. And she's like, oh, they told you about Scott Eastwood? I don't remember any of these characters' names. I'm using actor names. I want to make sure they all have names in the movie. I want people to understand that. And she's like, oh my God, you heard about Scott Eastwood's accident? And she's like, no, I'm here because Willa Fitzgerald was in an accident. And it's because they were together in the car, Siege. And other plot twist, Willa Fitzgerald wasn't going back to work until the next day. So it was pretty heavily implied that they were having an affair.
Okay, right. No, this is the plot of this movie, as far as I know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We find out that they were having an affair. They're dead. They have died in the car accident, and now these two left the people left behind. The pieces. It's a very classic romantic drama,
right? But with some other stuff too, because it turns out the reason Dave Franco vamoosed is that he actually wanted to be with Allison Williams. That I wound up with the wrong sister, and it broke my heart every day to see you with Scott Eastwood. So I had to just escape from that. There's also beautiful stuff about Watermelon Jolly Ranchers. She's like, you always gave me the Watermelon Jolly Ranchers because you hate them. And he's like, no, I love the Watermelon Jolly Ranchers. I just love that you love them more, so I always saved them for you. And you're like, oh, God, my heart. But then, the big twist, because you're not wrong. That's the whole pick-em-up of it all. That baby that Dave Franco thought he was the biological father of is Scott Eastwood's kid.
Oof.
That's I was impressed. This movie was very honest about the fact that, these two people die. It's heavily implied by the marketing that they're having an affair, but the reveal of how they prove it is a punch in the fucking heart. Because they found his car. It's at this hotel, and it's the hotel that he used to take Allison Williams to. When they were younger and they needed some alone time, because they're living in his parents' former house, and they go there and they're like, my husband passed away. I want to get into the room and get his stuff, make sure that, the room is no longer booked under him and everything. And they go in and they find stuff that belongs to Willa Fitzgerald. It is it's not just, it feels like they're having an affair. They give you implicit evidence that they were clearly
I don't think
together.
I mean, as far as I'm supposed to be understand it, they are having an affair.
They're having an affair, but the way that they prove it, I was happy that it wasn't just conjecture. That and the way they did it was hard. It was a hard moment. But relatively good storytelling. But then the other person who's involved in all this, the fact that Scott Eastwood he's like, I was playing with the baby tonight, and he smiled, and goddamn it, he's got Scott Eastwood's fucking smile. I can't do this. So he leaves the baby with Allison Williams while he tries to work through the fact that he's now left to raise his best friend's child. Who was the thing of an affair that he was having with a woman that he was trying to reconnect with. It's a lot of heavy stuff. But then the other part of this whole thing is McKenna Grace, who's just like a regular teenager going through like crushes on boys who have girlfriends and all this other stuff. And her mother and Dave Franco, they don't want her to know, because she really loved her father and she really loved her aunt. And they're like, we can't tell her that they were having this affair because she's already dealing with the grief of having lost the two of them.
Right, yeah.
So like, I don't want to layer on top of this for her. So they're keeping her in the dark, and that leads her to like kind of rebel against the fact that like, they're not talking to me about things. They're keeping secrets. I don't know what the fuck to do. So she starts like, so Mason Thames ends up breaking up with his girlfriend, and they start like casually seeing each other. I mean, it's one of those movies. I don't know, like classic rom-com does seem to be what it is. It was so enjoyable, even with all these like heavy moments that happened. And there are heavier moments that like I'm keeping in the shadows in case anybody wants to see this movie, because like pretty much the only one that I mentioned that is not shown in marketing is the fact that that baby is not Dave Franco's baby. And that's like a big thing, and that's enough of a hook I think I'm giving to people to be like, maybe you should check this film out.
Yeah.
But it's really good, and it's got really a lot of heart in it. Like, the end is just like a nice payoff. And also Clancy Brown is there as Mason Thames' grandfather. And God, I love Clancy Brown when he's not Mr. Krabs. Not that I don't love him as Mr. Krabs too, but I do love live action Clancy Brown. If people have not checked out Good Cop, Bad Cop, he's so good as their father in that. Like, he's a great actor. And it is really great to see him in this film. That was excellent, you know? And it's like a kind of about like redemption again, right? So I could kind of see how these two might be a trilogy. Roof Man to Regretting You. Also, I did say that there's no way I'm going to be able to enjoy Now You Three Me if I do not see Regretting You, because I need to know if Dave Franco's okay. I understand how actors work. I just want a blanket statement. I understand that Dave Franco is not his characters in these movies. I was just kind of being a cocky little bitch about it. I was being a dick when I'm like, I need to know if he's okay.
Considering the way that things have gone with the Now You See Me franchise, the idea that you would need to go see a movie completely out of the franchise in order to like get anything doesn't surprise me.
Which, you know what, that reminds me, Dale's gonna be upstairs ready to hit me with it, but I'm telling a Now You See Me related story right now. When she was in college, she has her degrees in film studies, and one of the textbooks that they use I want to make sure that I give the woman's name correctly. And I'm going to get through it through something else. Melanie Laurent, right? So it had a picture of Melanie Laurent on the cover of this book, specifically from Inglourious Bastards. So I pick up Dale one day to take her to class, and this is like, you know, when I was working on campus, around the same time as she was still attending as a student. And she's like looking at the textbook, and she's like, it's so weird. Every time I see the cover of this textbook, I think it's the woman from Now You See Me. And I look at the picture on the book and I go, hey, you know why you think that, Dale? Because it is. And she's like, what? No, this is like some old movie. And I'm like, it's Inglourious Bastards from 2009. It's a period piece, so I understand why you might think it's an older movie. But yeah, that's the woman who plays the Interpol agent in Now You See Me as Melanie Laurent. And I do like that one. But it does sort of tie into your whole, it would not be surprising if the Now You See Me franchise expected you to watch a bunch of movies from not the franchise so that you fully understand. And honestly, along that same line, the fact that Daniel Radcliffe becomes an antagonist in the second movie, in a lot of ways, I feel like they're like, you better have watched all 8 Harry Potter films. You better, like, if you don't come here with that 8 Harry Potter film knowledge, I don't think you're going to truly understand his motivations. Also, if you haven't seen Gone Girl, might be worth checking out Gone Girl before you see Now You Three Me. That's not a spoiler. It's just because Rosamund Pike is in both of them. All right. So we're having fun. We're having a good time. We're 2/3 of the way through the trilogy of 2025, which wraps up with Running Man 2025. The only one of these films, as far as I'm aware, that Sejan has actually seen.
That is correct, yes.
All right. So before we get into the Edgar Wright directed, Glenn Powell starring 2025 Running Man film, which I don't want to call a remake. It's not really a remake. It's kind of just a readaptation of the original source material. Like everybody, like IMDb says that it's a remake of the 1987 Running Man starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was so generous to do the cold open for this episode. Like I'm glad that was so nice of him. But so here's what I am going to say. Everybody has told me that I should watch The Running Man from 87. And the first time that I did so was last Saturday.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I watched that one for the very first time. And if you'll allow me, Sejan, before we talk about the Edgar Wright readaptation of the source material, I'd like to give like 10, 15 minutes to the Arnold Schwarzenegger Running Man film.
Okay.
I mean, you've seen it, right? Like
about,
it's not.
I can talk about Schwarzenegger's Running Man for sure. That movie's fucking hilarious. It is also, like you were saying, a very different movie than the one that we just got this year.
Yes. I mean, it clearly, like, you look at Richard Bachman, now revealed to be Stephen King, you see how that movie was inspired and an adaptation of the story The Running Man, the book that he published in 1982. Like, you can see it. But they did things to make it more of a movie, if I'm going to be just completely honest about it. Like, rather than the 30-day, basically what they did to the Running Man film is introduce the 3 unities to it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be like a dick and flaunt my theatrical degree around, but they looked at that script and they're like, all right, it might be hard for movie audiences to watch a movie where the guy can literally go anywhere in the world and he has 30 days that he has to survive.
Right.
So why don't we, instead one location, the game zone, 3 hours that he has to survive. What's the third unity? Cast? Is it people? I feel like a real asshole right now.
Time, space, and events, right? Isn't the third unity that like all events lead to the next? I might be misremembering that, but essentially the idea being that it all takes place within a much more contained unit of time, space, and personality, right?
Yeah. Unity of action is the one that it is, which is a place should have a central plot line that is cohesive and logical, all events directly contributing to the main story. Unity of time, the entire action of a play should unfold within a continuous period, traditionally not exceeding 24 hours or a single day. And unity of place, the setting of a play should be a single consistent location. So like the one that you were talking about is like basically nothing happens without something else causing it. Like it is a cause and effect style storytelling. Yeah. So they do that. That's what they do. They look at like how we're going to adapt this book, and they're like, essentially we're going to turn it into a play. And one of the things that really bums me out, because I've been doing research now that I've seen both Running Man into the 87 one, is that Starsky from Starsky and Hutch ends up being the director of it. I can't remember his name right now, and I kind of love that I'm just referring to him as Starsky. I'll get it though, so I can share it. Michael Paul Glaser Paul Michael Glaser. I'm sorry. He ends up stepping into the director role after the original director wanted to add a scene where So it's all like Running Man actually really reminds me of the Mega Man series in so many ways because of how all the stalkers have like a theme, like Professor Sub-Zero's the ice guy.
1987's Running Man has this wonderful video game-ness to it all, in that like he's basically working his way through like a castle, right, a dungeon-esque thing, and then like he's coming up against these themed villains, and then I think what you're getting at is he then uses stuff from those villains
to defeat them, and it's great. And then also the fact that like Mega Man, the first game, and Running Man could be media twins in the fact that they both come out in 1987 and are very similar to each other. I don't think that Capcom had the time to develop Mega Man after seeing Running Man, is where it just feels like these are two ideas that came into existence just because of everything that was going on in the world at the time.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing that's really funny about the 1987 Running Man is that what you're kind of all alluding to and everything that you're pointing at is that like when Bachman's book comes out, there's almost like this is so far-fetched that that audiences wouldn't buy this in a movie thing. You know, the idea that he could be found anywhere in the world, the idea that people would turn on him, the fact that there would be computers and videos everywhere, and the fact that in 2025 we no longer see that as an impossibility is, I think, one of the most important things that the new Running Man really brings to the table. One of the
most chilling statements the new Running Man makes is the fact that King's novel from 82 is now more relevant than ever. I mean,
it was in 87.
Than it was in
87.
5
years later.
Yeah. The really crazy thing is that the book written in 1982 was set in 2025. And one of the comments that Dale made after we say it is he's like it could have been today. Like there was nothing in it that was so far-fetched or that was so futuristic that we don't actually have it in our world right now. And I'm like, yeah, because it's set in 2025. It's not like the 87 Running Man where we're implicitly told it is 2017 and then 18 months pass, so it is 2019. They never give us a date in the new Running Man. But dear God, the original Running Man film is so enjoyable because everything, like, it is unintentionally hilarious. It is deliberately hilarious in so many things. I love a good movie that feels like a video game, and it still blows my mind that we don't really have good video game adaptations. Like you guys do it unintentionally with movies all the time. Why, when a video game is the source material, does it suddenly like Super Mario Brothers, but it's an alternate dimension where dinosaurs evolved into humans? Like, just do it. I mean, now that we have the Super Mario Brothers movie, like from Illumination and the upcoming Galaxy film, like we're starting to get them, right? We have Sonic that works. We're getting there. But the fact that it was such a difficult thing for them to do for like 30 years, I don't understand. Because I watched something like The Running Man and I'm like, yeah, no, they understood. Like the fact that Running Man inspired Smash TV, completely understandable. Also completely understandable that it inspired American Gladiators. American Gladiators is this movie, but without the death. Like, it is very different from King's novel, is the thing I want to say. But after watching it on Saturday, we had some time before we were going to see the new one, the 2025 adaptation. And Dale's like, I wouldn't mind watching Running Man again. So we sat and we watched the Schwarzenegger Running Man legitimately right before going to see the Edgar Wright adaptation.
Nice.
Very
nice.
And that is a movie that is super enhanced by a second viewing. Because there's like a pretty spoilers for a movie from 1987 that we may or may not cover someday on the Say Report. I'm still threatening to cover Commando someday, right? Schwarzenegger will get his time in the sun. Don't anybody fret or worry.
We know he's a little known actor that really could use
the exposure that the Say report offers. But yes, so like we sit down and we watch it, and watching it again, like there's a pretty big like fan theory that Sven, Richard Dawson's Damon Killian's bodyguard, is in fact Ben Richardson's re-educated brother. And watching it a second time with like that in my head, there's a bunch of moments where it feels that way. That like it was intended. Oh, I didn't finish about Paul Michael Glaser, because this is the one thing that upsets me about the 87 Running Man, is that he's replaced as a director, because the original director wanted it to be that Ben Richards pockets one of Sub-Zero's exploding pucks, and then it's basically Chekhov's exploding hockey puck, and it comes back in the final scene. But producers felt that him having something so powerful and not using it to save Laughlin and Weiss would make audiences hate Ben. So they're like, don't shoot this scene. It's not a good scene. And it wasn't in the script. It was something that the director like wanted to add, like once he became on it. After the first week of filming, he was 4 days behind schedule, $80 million over budget, like just some ridiculous number over budget. And partially that was because he insisted on shooting the scene where Schwarzenegger pockets the hockey puck, despite being told by producers, don't fucking do this. So then they look for somebody, and they're like, oh, we'll get Paul Michael Glaser, because in addition to playing Detective Starsky and Starsky and Hutch, he had gone on to be a director of television episodes. This would be his first feature film, and Schwarzenegger is on record thinking that by getting a television director to direct the film, it makes the whole movie feel like a television show, which betrays the deeper themes. And he doesn't put that all on the director, because like he was just chosen, and he comes from a world where you're given a script and then the next week you shoot that script. So like dramaturgy and research to understand the world is done as fast as possible. It's not like James Cameron with the Terminator, where he's researching what that future is and all of that. The guy basically shot the film like it was an episode of television. Now, what pisses me off about that, CJ, and listeners at home, is that enhances a film that is about a television show. If the film feels like a TV show, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I know, it's just like, it's not seeing the forest for the trees to complain about that. I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, really? That's what we're going to complain about? All right, so that's the last thing we're going to say. Like the last big thing dedicated to the 87 Running Man. Because it's time to talk about Edgar Wright's adaptation. And I got to tell you, the second it's Edgar Wright doing a movie, I know I'm excited. And I knew that Sejan would be excited. Let alone the fact that it's also based on a Stephen King novel. Right? Yeah. This is Sejan's wet dream.
And to be clear, from moment one, the conversation about this film, I think even before Edgar Wright was attached, was that they wanted to do another Running Man because, I mean, it's a hit movie from the 80s, and we love going back and revisiting that stuff. But everybody acknowledging we want to make it something closer to the original book, right? We acknowledge that one in 87, while it is a blast and everybody loves it, like it is not what that book was trying to say, you know. And I think this goes all the way back to the release of the original movie, and the idea that when Glazer is brought on, it loses a lot of its edge in terms of what it's trying to say about society, right? I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not saying that is true. I think that there's still a pretty big social commentary on display in the 87 Running Man.
I mean, one of the problems there, though, is do we see that, like, political statements in the 87 Running Man because of just how much of that film, in hindsight, has actually come to pass?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
like in '87, you're watching like this fucking shit could never happen. But if you're watching it in 2025, you're like, holy fuck, did Stephen King have some sort of mystical orb that showed him the future? Because like
Yeah.
that's what it feels like.
Well, it just feels. I mean, to be blunt, it feels ridiculous, right? The '87 one and the novel from '82, like they just feel ridiculous, right? And the idea that you need the audience to be able to buy into this possibility is not a given in '87, right? Whereas 2025, I think it's really interesting to look at this in addition to going back to the Colin Farrell Total Recall that came out about 10 years ago now at this point,
Yeah.
where it was much of the same idea. Is like, we're going to go back and redo the Schwarzenegger film, but we're going to go back to the source material, make it much more in that vein and that sort of thing. And that Total Recall is a wild film. One of the biggest things that it does is that it leans really more heavily into the social commentary of the original Total Recall. Because the thing is about these books, like Running Man, Total Recall, the sci-fi in general is always a reflection of society, right? That's where Black Mirror, like that's where the concept comes from and all that, right? Like sci-fi is, when it is at its best, is a dark reflection of a current societal problem, right? And it's just like, what happens if this thing gets out of hand? And like the ways in which the film versions of those in the '80s really kind of dismissed the cynicism of it and instead reveled in like the joy of the absurdity of those situations did kind of soften the edges of what those stories are trying to say, right? Total Recall, this idea of colonizing Mars and this whole aspect of like what that would mean for the people below and the people above, and the differences, and what that promise means to those people, and what the mind escape, mind erasing aspect of that movie is getting about in Total Recall, and in The Running Man, what we're saying about like TV and entertainment and the ways in which we are slowly turning back into this barbaric like form of culture, right? Like all of that sort of stuff just kind of, it doesn't have the same bite when you make them fun comedy, fun action movies with Schwarzenegger in them. I love Schwarzenegger, and I think the man is capable of some serious acting. I think he's had some really interesting roles especially in his later career, that show that he actually has a lot more to him than just the meathead look. But that's not what these movies were, right?
No.
Like back in the '80s, these are the meathead movies. These are the movies where people. These are the kinds of movies where people talk about how they wish movies weren't so political nowadays. That they're pointing to, completely ignoring the political like subplots of these films. But like that's what people mean, is they want these kinds of movies where like, yeah, okay, politics are there and you could see them, but they're so over the top, they're so ridiculous, they're so beyond the pale that like you can ignore them and still turn your brain off and enjoy these films. These newer versions of these sci-fi movies, these classic sci-fi stories, aren't letting you do that.
Yeah. I mean, a slight detour regarding the politics in things, and it is related because of the paramount of it all, is all these people complaining that South Park is too political now. South Park has been political since season 1. Like, they have always, like, kind of been trying to deliver a message and hold up a mirror to it. It's just that when we were kids, we watched it because it was kids who were swearing on the television. We weren't watching it for the political commentary. But now that we're adults, because the show has grown with us, yeah, we're noticing it because it's stuff that we're aware of.
Yeah, no, it's the idea that people liked being able to ignore the parts of their media that they didn't agree with before. And now we live in a time where you can't really do that. Between the fact that with all of social media, meaning that you get to see all of the ugly behind the scenes stuff nowadays, but also on top of that, the way that everybody now watches movies academically. Like, people don't just watch movies just to turn their brains off anymore. Now it feels like every movie is a project, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that has changed in the last like 30 years that has made people I mean, you talk about South Park, and I've actually been replaying some of the South Park video games.
I know, I saw that. I was a little jealous because, like, apparently I need to play the Fractured But Whole and Stick of Truth. I know that they're the different order, but they're like full episodes that are canon to the show. So like
Yes.
I have not
Yeah.
seen everything South Park because I've not played those games. Is
They're so good. I like as rough as some of the comedy is because
because it's
even within a
long
matter of
form.
like
It's
5 years,
long
they have not
form.
necessarily aged well in certain places.
Yeah.
But that's always been the nature of South Park, right? Is always being kind of on the cusp of acceptable, of tasteful, right?
We do episodes called time capsule episodes. Legitimately, every single episode of South Park is a time capsule. Like that,
Yeah, yeah,
undeniably. Like it is
yeah.
taking a look back at what was going on the week before that episode released. Like
But
you like
they have the collectible, the member berries that you can go around and they're like, remember
I
when we used to
remember.
watch Disney Channel and there was no commercials? I remember.
I remember.
Yeah. But it's basically like that kind of thing where it's like people want to just pick up their member berries, right? Like they just want to go through and just enjoy like things without having to write papers about them afterwards, right? But again, that's not what these newer versions of these stories are letting you do, and that goes for Edgar Wright's version of Running Man.
Certainly. And honestly, I dig it. It's one of the reasons why I'm upset by all the... Because I watched the Running Man film, and I'm like, I feel like after watching that movie, I should read the book. And I went to go purchase the book on Amazon so I could, have a copy of it. But literally, like, the description is the fact that spoilers for the Running Man. It just released. I understand. I just want everybody to be sure that they understand that we're going to talk about things that are plot points in the 2025 film. I just want everyone to know that. If you want to walk away and go see it before you come back to this is your final warning.
I do think that it's the perfect kind of movie in terms of the fact that like you can't really spoil what happens in this movie.
True.
It's pretty on the nose, like what this movie is, right? Man needs to get money to help his family, and the only way to do that in this dystopian future is to put himself in a dangerous game. Like that's the basic plot, which is not an unusual plot for sci-fi at all. But sorry, you were saying.
Well, but so then the description is Ben Richardson's daughter is sick, so he has to volunteer to be on the show The Running Man to get her the money she needs for treatment. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the new one is definitely more closely related to the book, and they did what they did in the '80s, the decade of excess with this film. I'm glad. That's all I needed to know. I needed to know if like they expanded it for this new film, or if that is what the source material actually was. Because it kind of felt like, clearly the source material is probably what the Edgar Wright one is based on, but I wanted to confirm it.
Oh, and that is not more obvious than the fact that Schwarzenegger's version, Ben Richards is a cop who has been wrongfully framed, right? And that's how he ends up in the games, is that he basically gets thrown into them after he gets basically because he's the only good cop, his unit turns on him and he gets fucked, and so he gets thrown into the games, and it's all about him bringing down society based on that, right? But what that implies is that there's a given die hard badassitude to that story, right? Whereas in the original book and what we see in Edgar Wright's, Ben Richards is nobody. He is just a man, and he actually is not very good at fighting. Like Glenn Powell, man. I don't think this is the best Glenn Powell role that I have ever seen, but he is just so charming, right? Like, so it works, right? He's great as Ben Richards. It's just that I think that he puts more work in some of the other movies he's done this year. I mean, Twisters, right? Like, I mean,
well, that was last year, but he put in the work into Twisters. I love that. I mean, Maverick, what he did there. Even Everybody Wants Some.
Maverick.
Got his role in Everybody Wants Some as like sort of the guide to the freshman baseball players.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, even
well, and like he just did what was the TV show
Chad
adaptation of the character Chad Powers, right? Yeah. But anyway, so like he like gets the shit kicked out of him, and like the ways in which he shows an angry. Clearly, like, it's not that he's stupid. Like, he's an intelligent, angry man stuck in this world that he has had no control over its creation. Like, it doesn't feel like he's necessarily responsible for this world, right? It doesn't feel like he was a rich guy that was like just ignoring the plight of others. Like, it seems like he has always been aware of how unfair this world is, and he is truly at the end of his rope.
And that's legitimately his flaw. His flaw is the fact that he sees these problems and he's not willing to keep his mouth shut about it.
No, right. We watch him get in trouble because he stands up for somebody less fortunate than him, right? Yeah. The guy that gets sick in the line, and he goes and asks for help, and they fucking hit him with the electric batons. One of the first times we see him really get the shit kicked out of him is they hit him with those batons, man. Oh, I love the running bit with him and those batons that he doesn't. It's not that he can't be hurt by them. He is clearly still hurt by them, but his whole I'm gonna take the hit, right? Like, where he grabs them, or he makes sure that his arm like goes up. Like he
adapts to them. It's real great that he adapts to them.
It's
not that he becomes immune.
Kind of subplot in the fight choreography of this movie that is him and those electric batons that was really enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, and it is. There's a lot of beautiful subtlety in this film that I like, which is why when we eventually get to, well, to quote Kurt Fuller, my third act problems with this movie, it was a little disappointing to me. Because there is so much. I mean, one of the things that, there's one moment early on in the film that I kind of questioned, which is when he smokes the joint. Because he's been pretty intelligent up to that point. If you're running for your life, I don't know if you'd alter your brain chemistry. Can I just be honest about that?
No,
is that in the book?
But I do think that is during that. That's during that time period when he's.
It's
it is when he first starts running, right? It's not during the.
He's at the YVA.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, part of it is him kind of letting his guard down for like the first time, literally since the movie started.
Yes, very true.
One of my big problems with this movie is that this movie starts with him at fucking 11 in terms of his anger and his like the line delivery, like literally the mechanics of acting. Glenn Powell starts this movie in a way that is like so off-putting, and then like when he eventually needs to get there later in the movie, there's no discovery.
There's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go because he's been up there the whole time. But what we're talking about is at some point early in the movie, he ends up crashing in a place for the night, and he's given a stash box, and in that stash box, along with some money and some stuff, is a joint, and he decides to treat himself in that moment, and I don't know, man. There's that part of me that wants to be like, yeah, I mean, if you want to get like super, Satan panic about like weed and be like, satanic panic about weed and be like, oh, smoke once and you're just fucked for the next month. Like, dude just wants to have a fucking break for one night. I wouldn't be like, to me, smoking a joint like before you go to bed for the night is just like day-to-day life. So like that idea that like, as far as I'm concerned, every movie made in the last like 10 years, people are smoking joints. They're just doing it off screen. You're not seeing it.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, like we've talked about that many times. That like Billy Madison, the most unbelievable thing about this movie, where a 27-year-old is allowed to go back to elementary through high school, is that there are no drugs at all seen or discussed in that film.
I would even take in that exact situation. I would even take the idea he doesn't do drugs. Like he says something along the lines of "I can't do that," or that's part of the deal. Like if you're going to go back and do this, you have to stay sober, right? But the fact that it's not even mentioned, it's not even in the plot that it is a possibility that a billionaire's kid who does nothing but sit around with his two friends and float in the pool all day, that they aren't doing some kind of drugs at the same time is ridiculous.
Yeah, they're clearly drinking, but it's right. I agree with that. And of course, I mean, I'm not above a little bit of weed. I'll admit it. I do it too. Not every day, but I do. There are times where I like that escape or just that situation. But I'm also the type of person, right? Sejan said it once to me in college, and it legitimately meant so much. If you were there and you could see the collection of individuals that Sejin could choose from for who would survive a zombie apocalypse. Like, you need to understand that Sejin was like in a circle of people and I was sitting off to the side. And the question was like, well, who do you think in this room is going to survive the zombie apocalypse? And this motherfucker goes, no hesitation, no nothing, goes, Devon is the one who survives the zombie apocalypse. And it's like, what the fuck are you, what is this? Why am I being dragged into it? But then, like, that Sejin, I don't want to say that, like, it has shaped who I am, but it was kind of this, especially having gone through an actual pandemic, right? There were no zombies with COVID, but my ability to, like, just shelter at home and not be like many people who I was friends with who were like, I just need to go out in the world and do something. Like, no, like, I get it. So when I see something like, hi, I'm Devon Decker, I'm pretty sure I could survive the Running Man. I'm gonna be straight with you.
I mean,
like,
this is, and I say this with all sincerity and love when I say this, but I know the exact moment that you're talking about back in college when I said that, and I know to this day why I still believe that, and that is entirely because you were the only living human being I know with plot armor.
What the fuck? I can't believe it took 462 episodes before you said those words. Jesus Christ. I don't even know. Like, I just want to end the episode on that. I don't know how to respond to you saying that. But you know what? That is actually a wonderful segue into where I felt this movie kind of ground to a halt. And that is when Ben Richards, as played by Glenn Powell, is blessed with plot armor.
Yeah.
Like, because that moment. All right, so again, spoilers for this movie. I know we talked about it again, but I do want to talk about it. Like, he is fighting, and he falls in with the right type of people who are very supportive of him, who help him to get through things. They set up that beautiful plan. The plan he sets up with Big Brother, a.k.a. Apostle, where he's like, you're going to head up to Derry, Maine, where all you have to deal with is it, the fucking scary clown. Like, you're going to head up to Derry, Maine. We're going to pre-record all of your tapes, and we're going to have my people head south, dropping them in the, because that's the thing I really like about the story, and it's a bit of a change to the fact that he has to record basically a testimonial video for a 7-minute long testimonial video every day that he is out in the world surviving, and drop them off in a sanctioned mailbox so that they get to the studio so that they can have those to put on the TV. It's also like he does a really good job to disguise where he is whenever he's shooting them. He is really, very smart about it.
It's a great, again, just really subtle, never really spoken thing that he does every time he records a video. He makes a point to put up a white sheet or a white background behind him so that you can't tell anything about where he is.
Yeah, like he doesn't want to make sure that there are any clues that you can trace to him. For somebody who reluctantly signs up to play the Running Man game, he is very good at it. Like, he's probably watched a couple of episodes.
Well, right. We are told as much in the very beginning of the movie, where what he does all day is watches game shows to recognize patterns and then does the math to figure out what would be the easiest ones to go on and get some cash.
Right.
And that's how this whole
that is what
plot
kicks
starts
it off.
for him.
Yeah, is that we need money because our daughter is sick. I have been watching all the shows. The lowest amount of money you can walk away with is $75. But like the highest, like people are making like $1,000 new dollars. So like if I go and I can get on some of these shows, we will get the money to make our daughter healthy. The problem is that during the audition process, he proves that he'd be the best fucking Running Man since the first season.
Right, exactly.
Like, yeah, so that whole thing, but he's very intelligent. But that whole plan that they devised, were like, you're gonna go north and we're gonna make it look like you're heading south, is brilliant. Like, there's like legitimate. He falls in with like the Apostle is basically a super fan of the Running Man who makes YouTube videos.
I mean, he is. There's this wonderful element to it. This is going to be a complete kind of non sequitur that not everybody's going to be able to attach to, because it's an IRL thing that very few people I have gotten to do. But there's this art exhibit museum experience that has a few different locations in the country called Meow Wolf, and there's one in the Las Vegas area. No, this is the Denver one. In the Denver one, there is a future world that you kind of can walk through and be a part of, and there's a running subplot in that future world of exactly this kind of character, of the hacker influencer streamers type, but is also kind of like the idealistic version of that, which is the revolutionary. So I was watching this movie and all I could think of was this art thing that I had been through, and I was like, man, I love that this is like an archetype right now, right? Is the like streamer revolutionary. I mean, like in some ways it's the same thing that Borderlands 3 kind of plays with its villains. Is this idea of like the influencer streamer revolutionary. Just in Borderlands they go the bad way with it, so they're the bad guys of the story. But in this we see it as the kind of the fire underneath everybody's ass to kind of get things done, right? They're the ones speaking the truth. And we find out that he's not the only one, right? You talk about this guy like he's somehow kind of a standout, but I mean, Michael Cera's character, is also kind of like, with him printing zines and handing them out and stuff like that. Like there's a clear
there's a clear resistance going
underground.
On. Yeah, and it's not
world.
Mick Fleetwood and fucking Dweezil Zappa.
Right.
It's like, it really feels like this underground thing that he's lucky enough to fall in with. That's like, you need to be the igniter. You need to show that somebody can win the fucking Running Man. Because if one person can beat the fucking government and the way that they have their boots on our neck, then people will believe that any of us can do it. And that small match will create an explosion. As Rachel Platten said, much to the chagrin of Will. Will lost his mind once when we were listening to that song, when she's like, I might only have one match, but I can start an explosion. And he's like, anybody can start an explosion with one match. Like, you're not special. And I'm like, I think that's the point, though, Will.
I think that might be the point of the line, actually.
He's like, still, it just upsets me. And I'm like, that's fair. We've also been in the car for 8 hours. You might just be hangry. You want to get a snack, big guy? But yes.
But yeah, so third act plot armor comes into play hardcore in this movie. I mean, like, it becomes kind of that thing that we talk about with the 80s one, where like it starts to throw out all of the like edginess just in favor of just like pleasing the audience, right? And and that's, give or take. I don't disagree, right? I do think that this is not a perfect film. I think that there is definitely some stuff that happens. I think there's some clear stuff at the very end of this movie, like literally in the last 5 minutes of this movie, where I think it was re-edited.
Oh, yes.
Timeline-wise?
Absolutely do I feel that way. And then
in fact, I almost feel like there was an after-credits scene that they were like, well, we're not going to make this after credits. Let's figure out a way to shove this into the actual end of the film.
The exact discussion was, this is where I would have ended the movie, and then I would have rolled credits, and then if you're somebody who stayed through the credits, you get the payoff of this scene. And then and it answers those questions. It should have ended, again, we're spoiling it anyway, and we're a little out of time and space ourselves here. It should have ended with the Apostles video talking about, is Ben Richards still alive? Like, that whole conspiracy video was a really cool way to have ended the film, and the fact that there was still about 15 minutes of movie after it felt like a bit of a betrayal.
I mean, like, I do like, but this is where the editing gets a little gobbled up for me, up for me, as it were, gobbled up and chewed out, as it were. But this idea that, like, I like the TV station being run over by revolutionaries. I like the idea that somebody that he thinks is possibly him showing up, but the moment that they reveal, basically the moment that they just reveal any solid answers about
Yes.
Richards, it kind of takes some of the edge out of it and makes it cathartic as an audience member, like, ooh, yay, happy, good feelings about this character. But like from an artistic standpoint, the idea should have been at the end of this movie is that anybody could have been him.
Yes.
Right?
That he ignited this revolution.
This unique special. Right. Yeah. But it turns him into the one. It turns him into the special by the end of this movie.
Yeah. And there's also the scene where, like, because it's hinted at that his wife and child were killed. And there, at some point, I'm like, I feel like that may have almost been what they did. Like, when he gets back the picture with the sock, I'm like, that's a fucking plant. Like, they didn't get none of that shit. They just killed his family. And I'm like, because that's kind of what it felt like. I'm like, I don't want that to be the case. But if it ends up being that he's like, he looked at that handwriting and it's clearly not Sheila's handwriting, and he's just like, fuck, like, I'm going to kill this guy anyway. Fuck it. Like, but they have that whole scene where it's confirmed that Sheila and the baby are still alive and that he, reunites with them. But this is a film that does that beautiful Edgar Wright thing of dream sequences. And that whole sequence feels like those dream sequences in terms of the way it's shot, like the lighting. So, like, it being like an ambiguous thing of like, is this something that really happened, or is this the ideal? Like, for example, the ending of something like Baby Driver, where he's not in prison and he gets the girl. Like, like, I would have been all right with that, right? Even like being that ethereal, dreamlike thing, if they're in some sort of afterlife, like paradise, because they have, they were murdered and now they're just in like a normal world. Like, that whole thing, like, was kind of ambiguous still to the fact of like, I don't know if this is real or not.
Right.
Like, it was the proof, the concrete evidence that he is alive and he is the one who finally takes out Dan Killian was kind of like a fuck you.
Yeah.
Especially because, and here's the thing that I said about the two Running Man films, is that 1987 is clearly a film made where 9/11 never happened. And how, like, they wouldn't know that 9/11 was happening unless Stephen King actually does have the orb, right? Because there's that scene in the 87 one where, like, Maria Alonso doesn't have her boarding pass, and the TSA agent's like, you can just go and board this plane. Like, oh, okay, never going to happen in our world ever again. But then, and the book ends with Richards piloting the plane into the network building, killing himself and Dan Killian. Like, that's how the book ends. Right. So, but then you live in a world, that movie is now made in a world where 9/11 is the thing that happened. So maybe you don't want the iconography of a plane crashing into a skyscraper in your film, but full of people, also, full of people, full of some innocence, right? Like there are still just some people who are like, I just live in the world, right? And my only crime is complacency, but like, what else am I supposed to do? Which is also a pretty strong political statement that we get from, like, her name's not Amber. Amber is the one from it. The woman that he picks up near the end of the movie, who is not listed.
What is her name?
So I'm looking it up. It's okay. Where the hell is your name? Siege and Talk, so that I don't have to.
Okay, I thought you.
Amelia.
You had it there.
It's sorry. Amelia Jones playing Amelia Williams. Yeah, like Amelia has that whole thing, and then, like, by all accounts, people talk about the fact that in the novel, like, her understanding of the way that the government lies to her gets to have this, like, slow burn realization, where in the movie he just kind of talks about how her scarf is worth a human life, and then suddenly she's radicalized to join his cause. Like,
well, I don't think that that's all that happens.
No,
she
other
also
things
watches
definitely
those
still
two
happen.
dudes get killed.
Right. And she sees how they like the propaganda machine lies. Like, she's like, I didn't do that. What the fuck is that? He's like, now do you get it? That like they just lie all the fucking time? That you cannot trust them at all? Yeah, no. That I'm talking about a complaint that I have seen from many people. Is the fact that it, like, what is a nice slow burn to her realization of the truth of the world is basically just one scene. And I get it. I mean, people are allowed to have their critiques, and it happened in the part where the movie does kind of like slow to this halt. But yeah, but in a world where like we've seen the aftermath of something like that, we don't want to show that on film again. But also, like, we now have things in place to like stop that from ever happening again. So the idea that like he's going to fly the plane into the building, well, they're going to fly the plane into the building, right? The whole idea of remote piloting of that plane that he's in is a kind of terrifying in so many ways. Yeah. But the idea that they would have like a security system in place that would stop planes from hitting skyscrapers is not that far-fetched in a world where that movie is being made post a huge terrorist attack where that happened.
Right.
So, like, I mean, but that, like, that cathartic of, like, him ending his life to take out who he has determined as the big bad in the book, like, I just don't know. Like, that one's, like, it's I don't know. Like, there was a nice ambiguity to the ending of this film. Like, not to be a total dick about it, but he pulled a Russ Holiday. This movie dropped the ball at the 1 yard line for me. like, cause as like I would watch like 99% of this film. Like, again, even the part where like it does kind of slow to it, there's some great acting on display once he gets in Amelia's car. Because once he gets in Amelia's car, like, we talk about the plot armor. That plot armor is the fact that he is so fucking popular and so good for the ratings of The Running Man, which doesn't make any fucking sense because there's no alternative, right? Like, there's no other shows on. It's not like us where we have 200 channels to pick. Freevee is basically whatever they're fucking showing you. So what do ratings matter? Like, I understand.
Well, I think part of that is also because we also don't really get we don't get much about the world on the other side of the fence. You know what I mean?
True.
We get a lot of the poorer side, the bad side of the tracks world, right?
Yeah, we see a lot of the downstairs, not a lot of the upstairs.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. We do get the impression that there is other types of shows out there, though, because we keep getting back to the Americano.
And that was wonderful. That was so... nailed it. The satire there was spot on.
Yeah. But, like, you know, so there is the sense that, like, TV has definitely devolved, and it is really only this reality television. Now, for some people, that reality is you know, people going through family drama and having too much money and all that nonsense. For other people, it is watching them in these game shows, right? Like, but it is all basically reality TV. So, like, I do agree that the amount of entertainment is not like today with 200 channels for sure. But I do get the idea that, like, not everybody has access to television, so making the effort, you know, we see more than once that he passes by, like, watch parties for, like, The Running Man and stuff like that. And I don't mean just, like, people hanging out and having some fun at somebody's house. I mean, like, there's, like, full neighborhoods of people getting together to, like, project it onto the side of buildings because, like, that's the only way any of them can watch this. And I think that that's what they're getting at with, like, the ratings aspect, is that there's so many people trying to watch this show that we have people that don't even have access to televisions, like,
trying to watch it now. And completely, and that part I do get, because executives not understanding, like, the hate watching of it. Like, people are not watching The Running Man because, oh my god, I have to see them get Ben Richards. They're watching because, oh my god, I have to see Ben Richards get fucking them. I want to see this guy win this fucking game.
Right.
So there's some real good commentary in it, and God, every time he kills a hunter in this, like, it's satisfying. Like, even though they don't have the most character development, like, it's enough where, like, yeah, they don't get full, like, intros and promos the way the Stalkers do in the 87 one. But, like, you know enough about the Hunters to know who they are and why they can go fuck themselves.
There's definitely one or two of them that, like, you start to track and kind of hate.
Yeah.
And again, it's more subtle, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you're saying, it's not like the boss, like, entrance screen, splash screen with, like, their name and, like, their power set and all that shit. You know, you don't get that, but what you do get is, like, you do get that guy that he decides to spare at some point, and then it ends up being a mistake later, right?
Well, it's not
Yeah.
just that he spares him, it's that he's not going to kill him in cold blood. Like, and that is nice. I do dig that. But then if, like, it's him or me, yeah, I'm going to blow you up with this cart full of pipe bombs.
Yeah.
Like,
no, right. And well, and like I said, like, by that point, like, it's basically like, I gave you a chance, man, and you fucked. You know, like,
you fucked this
like,
up.
So, like, there's no remorse. But again, all of this being colored by the fact that he is not good at this. Like,
Right.
Ben Richards is not good at doing at the killing part. The killing is almost happening almost somewhat accidentally in a lot of scenes.
Well, like, the explosion at the YVA is purely on the goons.
Yeah.
Because he's like, don't shoot, there's flammable stuff in here. And then that fire starts, he's like, this place is going to blow. Like, he's trying to warn them. He's not trying to actively kill them. And then, they die because of that explosion that their negligence causes. And, of course, the show, for ratings and for, you know, to make him a despicable character, they're going to color it like he's the one who set off an explosion, killing all of these goons, which is this world's version of police officers. I really liked the Agab graffiti that was all over the world. All goons are bastards. Like, like that, like, this movie was on point with its commentary. I will give it that. But, like, once he gets in the car...
one big criticism I would give is very much in the same vein, is exactly, though, this idea that in the last, like, 30 minutes of this movie, suddenly he's very good at handling a gun and, like, getting into people's faces and choking people out while making them also shoot other people in the back type shit. And, like, he becomes very much an action hero in the last, like, 20 minutes of this movie in a way that he isn't in the rest of this movie. So that's a little bit of a letdown. But, you know, there's some good, like, goofy shit. There's some really good Edgar Wright filmmaking stuff. And at that moment
Edgar
when he's
Wright
got the mustache on and they're doing the shot of him with the mustache and then the wanted sign behind him, and then every time he moves his head, the wanted sign switches to be the same perspective, so that you really get the idea that his costume is bullshit.
Yeah. It's they do a lot of really. It's an enjoyable film. It just, I was disappointed at the end of it, and that is, unfortunately, our minds are triggered to remember disappointments and bad things because we're supposed to learn from them. So this movie that had so many great moments, like I'll talk about the hot dog scene. I'll just call it the hot dog scene. I thought that was beautiful. That he's like, don't talk to him about hot dogs. And then when he meets up with the guy, he's like, just fucking ask me. Like, I want to get it out of the way. Like, that worked for me on several levels.
Yeah.
Like, and it is that exact thing. It's like, we're going to set this thing up. And then, no, this guy's not the insane person that he was painted to be. Like, he'll tell him why the hot dog cart and what it means. I don't know. I did. But yeah, like, as soon as, like, we're going to keep you alive so that we can keep the ratings going happened, when they opened that barricade, like, there's a freaking full-on, like, barricade so that he cannot move forward. And then they just open that up and wave him through. And it's like at this point, like, I feel like you've kind of lost the thread a little bit.
Yeah. I'm a lot more forgiving of specifics like that because of like what it's trying to say about what it's doing, but it all adds together.
It all adds to it. It adds to these like it didn't bother me in the moment.
Of a film, which is
it didn't.
A shame.
It didn't bother me in the moment. It's then like looking back over the movie and seeing these things that like ended up building up to have that disappointing ending. Because even like the conversation that he's having with Dan while on the plane about the fact that, like, you are super popular. We want to do a spin-off where you're a hunter just hunting bad people. Not even, like, it was going to be Dog the Bounty Hunter, essentially. It's not going to be the Running Man. It's going to be you taking people out. Like, that's a crazy, like, moment. And that worked for me. But, you know, the other stuff, like, leading up to it, I'm like, what is this? Like, there was an energy to this film. I felt invigorated by this film. And you kind of just sucked all the air out of the room a little bit by removing all of the stakes and just making it a conversation, a negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now that we've talked about the 3 movies that comprise the trilogy of 2025, it's time to tell everybody at home why this is Devon Decker's The Trilogy of 2025. And the reason is my local Cineplex, the Showcase Cinema, gave me $10 if I went to go see these 3 films in theaters. If I went to go see Roofman, Regretting You, and Running Man, I would get $10 back as, like, reward cash. And the reason behind that, right, because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is it because of all this? Like, Roofman and Running Man have some similar themes with, like, the Robin Hood of it all, or, like, appealing to people by, like, you're doing sort of semi-illegal things, but, like, you're doing morally correct actions instead.
Right.
And Regretting You, like, doing anything for your family, and the compromises that we have to make for our own happiness, for those people like that. Like there are some themes that weirdly connect these 3 movies. I'm not gonna lie about it. But at the end of the day, the reason why this is the trilogy of 2025 is because these are the 3 Paramount Pictures movies that released over the past 3 months.
Yeah, so I wonder if this is like a play by Skydance, because they just got picked up by Skydance earlier this year, right?
Well,
so I wonder if the promotion is a play by Skydance to try and get some people in seats, because Paramount is not doing well right now.
No, not at all. Even though, like, now they're like, we're going to buy Warner Brothers too. When did the Skydance merger happen is what I would like to know. So it looks like it happened on August 7th, 2025 is when it, like, it finally went live. I'm going to do, when was these? I'm going to talk out loud. Skydance merger.
Well, and, you know, the promotion that you're talking about is like, let's throw $10 of, I'm assuming, movie money to people if they go and see these 3 movies, right?
It's money that I can only spend to go see other movies. It's not like they give me, like,
I mean,
$10.
that's an easy. Yeah. That is an on the fly, like that's a mea culpa if, like, the audio turns off in the middle of a movie. Like, movie theaters can put that shit together for you. Like, here's a, you know, so, like, that's a really easy promotion. If I'm Skydance and I come in and I have to start doing my due diligence to bring some life back to Paramount, like, it's an easy promotion to say, hey, what are our movies out right now? Okay, go see all of our movies and we'll throw $10 a movie bucks at you. It's like.
So it completed on August 7th, and then when I saw Roofman, which it came out on the 10th of October, Roofman, and then I saw it the Wednesday afterwards. So it's probably like the 15th. I was surprised when I saw that the title card was the new Paramount A Skydance Company card. I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Like, when did they finalize the prints of this movie?
No, man, it's just a patch. They just send that shit out, and the hard drives, they update, and they get the right shit added to them. It's part of the reason why when shit goes kind of weird in credits nowadays, people get as upset as they do, is because there really is no excuse for it. Like, what was the movie that came out about in the middle of the pandemic? Was it New Mutants, where they, like, spelled the fucking guy's name wrong?
Yeah.
Like, the creator's name wrong? Oh, man, fucking bullshit. But, like, the reason why people were like, why is this not fixed, was for so many reasons, but not least of which because I put a Blu-ray into my PlayStation to watch a movie, and you update it with recent previews. Why is that not possible with things like
because that's not
the
marketable.
title cards and stuff like that.
The fact of the matter is people do not give a shit about credits. And that actually really bums me out. And I know that's like such a stupid thing.
Problem, yeah.
But because like that is essentially where these people get their moment to shine for everything that they did. God, I saw something and like, yeah, there was an after credits sequence and I'm just like, I know that was like nothing. It was just like a funny little moment. But like the fact that like you didn't get to see the full movie that you paid to see. Yeah. And I have always, like, since high school, where I'm like, yeah, you know what? I paid for this whole experience. That includes the credits. And especially, like, the credits for something like The Running Man 2025, it's essentially the zine, right? Like, there's stuff going on in the margins of the credits. So, like, if you leave during those, you're missing what is part of that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so it's been kind of fun to joke and call it that the trilogy of 2025. But really, like, there were some themes and some thematic stuff that did weirdly unify these three films. I think the most surprising thing is that Running Man is my third place winner of this trilogy. Regretting You was incredible. Like, I cannot overstate how good a movie Regretting You was. The one that I thought was going to be my third place choice ended up being number one. Roof Man, also very good, but it's in number two. And I think just because of that disappointment when I walked out of the Running Man adaptation, and it wasn't somebody who went in expecting it to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger film again, right? Because there are plenty of people who are complaining, why isn't it like the Arnold Schwarzenegger one? It's like, because, you know, like, that's not it. I knew what I was getting into, and I still, like, some of the stuff that happened at the end of this movie just made me disappointed. And again, I agree with Siegen. I think it may have been some editing stuff. I think it may have been some production stuff, like the producers, the studio saying, you can't do this. Like, that's the other thing. It's really hard to get, like, corporation satire when it's coming from a corporation.
Yeah.
Right? It's like to talk about another biopic, Straight Outta Compton, having Ice Cube and Dr. Dre as executive producers on it, which means that they sanded off a lot of the rough edges about their particular contributions to NWA. Meanwhile, Eazy-E, because he is deceased and doesn't really have the same sort of advocacy in the room, it is a really good biopic about Eazy-E's life and his relationship with NWA. But, like, understand that, like, Ice Cube and Dre, they got some other things that, like, years from now when we get a biopic that they're not involved in is going to surprise some people. Or maybe not. Maybe
I think there's even some people nowadays that are, like, seeing things and learning things about them, and they're just like, this wasn't in the movie.
Why? Like, why wouldn't that be in the movie? Yeah, I wonder why. I don't know. But I think that's all I have to say on this one. I think that brings this.
Yeah, I mean, I would still recommend The Running Man. Like,
I would recommend it too. I think it would too.
Like, it is worth a movie ticket to go enjoy it in theaters, especially if you can go with some friends. Really love the number of Stephen King adaptations I'm getting recently.
So I had that. I actually had that.
Life of Chuck. The Monkey was even one of his.
Yeah, I actually had up all of them briefly. Let me get to it. I think he has 9 adaptations that released in 2025.
Well, and then there's the series that just started on HBO, and
yeah, it's 9. It's The Monkey, The Reach, Mute, LT's Theory of Pets, The Institute, The Long Walk, The Colorado Kid, a hard case crime novel, The Running Man, and It, Welcome to Deary are all things that he has writing credits on. As, like, he wrote the novel.
Wait, they're doing something with Colorado Kid? I love those stories.
The Colorado Kid, a hard case crime novel. It looks like it is just, it's an audio.
There was like a Okay.
Yeah.
Because there was a series that they were talking about, or maybe even did, of that story. But those are cool. Those are not scary, but they do have some really interesting ties to the King world. Like everything, it all ties back to the Dark Tower. But they're just really cool, like Joyland and stuff like that, where they're not scary stories. They're just good old fashioned pulp detective novels.
Yeah. So that's the only one that, like, it's a video, but then it's an audiobook. But everything else, like The Institute and Welcome to Derry are TV shows. But then Running Man, Long Walk, Mute, they all seem to be like theatricals. Like, It is a time to shine for Mr. Stephen King. So and it is, yeah. Even though I have some issues with it, I would legitimately recommend every movie that we talked about in this episode. I think that, like, even though Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere was kind of weird, I think it's worth watching. I think that the acting performances are incredible. And as long as you go in understanding that it's a biopic, so some of the facts have been massaged, like just understand that. If you want to know more, maybe read the Wikipedia page. Or go to your local, like, bar and ask for the biggest Bruce Springsteen fan, and buy him a shot and a beer, and he'll fix any of the questions you have about that movie. Last looks, Sejin, because I have somebody here who wants to do our whole final thing.
Oh
yeah. So if you don't have anything else to say, I will turn the microphone over to him.
Yeah, let's hear who it is. Who do you get over there?
I told you I'd be back. Thank you for listening to the Say Report. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can join their Discord. Invitations to join are available wherever they are on social media, which as of this recording is Facebook and X. You can also get an invitation by sending them an email to thesayreport@gmail.com. And if you do not want to join the Discord because you are against social media, feel free to just send emails to thesayreport@gmail.com and they will respond accordingly. The most important thing to remember is that if it is for Devon Decker or for Sejin Sarowick, put their names in the subject line and they will distribute it appropriately. But just because you write something to Sejin, he may be the only one who reads it, but they could talk about it on the show. Any submissions are open to scrutiny on the air. Thank you again for listening to the Say Report. This has been Arnold Schwarzenegger. William, please bring us home.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejin Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.